Stairway, Montana, and Alex Trebek are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is November 8th, 2021. It is the 312th day of the year. There are 53 days left in this year. It is the 45th Monday in the 46th week, the 48th day of fall. We got 43 days left until winter. And if today's your birthday, you're still a Scorpio. You probably already know that. Today is National Harvey Wallbanger Day. In case you don't know, a Harvey Wallbanger is a drink. It's a cocktail. It is made 3 parts vodka, 1 part Galliano, and 6 parts orange juice. Poured into a highball glass, throw a garnish in it, an orange slice, maraschino cherry, you're good to go. This drink's been around since 1968 at a chili tasting contest in San Diego. The host served Harvey Wallbangers along with a story that explained the cocktail's origins. So the story goes like this. There was a party in Laguna Beach, California. I guess all the guests had drank most of the alcohol and it was still early. The only thing left was vodka, Galliano, and orange juice. So they started making these drinks with just that, and it was a success. Now the name comes from the host. His name was Harvey. When he realized he'd run out of alcohol almost completely, except for these 3 ingredients, he banged his head up against the wall a couple times. So they made the drink, called it a Harvey Wallbanger. That's how it got the name. That's the story. I wasn't there. Don't know if it's the true story, but that's what their website says. All right, let's see what else November 8th has given us. 1889, Montana is admitted as the 41st state. 1895, while experimenting with electricity, Wilhelm Röntgen discovered the X-ray. I probably butchered his last name, but I know Wilhelm's his first name. 1966, U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson signs into law an antitrust exemption allowing the National Football League to merge with upstart American Football League, and we have the NFL that we know and love today. 1968, the Vienna Convention on Road Traffic is signed. This was a convention where they all got together, all these different countries, a whole bunch of them, and they came up with a uniform traffic thing, like certain signs meant one thing, and they just kind of got it all together so people traveling abroad weren't totally confused. This, as you can imagine, has saved a lot of lives over the years. 1971, Led Zeppelin releases Stairway to Heaven. It would be great if I could add the song Stairway to Heaven as I talked about this, but that gets the channel demonetized and could possibly get me a copyright strike, so sadly I won't be able to put it up there. But Stairway to Heaven is arguably one of the greatest rock songs ever written. Obviously, if you have different tastes, you probably might not think so, but most people consider this one of the most amazing pieces of music to come out of the 1970s. Stairway to Heaven was written and recorded in December of 1970 while Led Zeppelin was staying at Headley Grange. Headley Grange is this old building that is like on an estate now, but it was like the projects for way back in the day. They turned it into this really cool recording place, and a lot of big bands recorded great albums there. Fleetwood Mac, Bad Company, Genesis, Peter Frampton, Ian Dury, Clover, and Led Zeppelin. The song wasn't your average song back then. It kind of was written like a play, where it had 3 different sections or 3 different acts, with each one progressively increasing in tempo and volume and adding other instruments. So it starts off with just an acoustic guitar just kind of thumbing along. Then they add this recorder, that flute type thing. It sort of gives it this medieval feel. Then eventually the vocals come in, then the bass, then the drums come in, then a guitar solo. So it's playing out like a big finale at the end. It's an amazing song. There is I don't know if you'd call it a documentary, but the BBC sat down with Jimmy Page, who wrote it. He was the lead guitarist for Led Zeppelin, in case you don't know. Well, he wrote this song, at least the music part, and had the idea for it. And he sat down with them years later. He's an older gentleman now. And he kind of just talked about it and talked through what they did and how they did it and what the idea was. I'll leave a link for the BBC thing with Jimmy Page in the description below. The song hasn't gone without controversy over the years. There was a time in the early 80s where they said that it was giving demonic and satanic subliminal messages to kids by doing this thing called backmasking. And then there was a band from the 1970s called Spirit, and they sued them for copyright infringement. And I've heard the song that Spirit had called Taurus. I could see where they thought it was theirs. It's close. The lawsuit worked its way through the court system, and finally the Ninth Circuit Court in 2020 decided that there was no copyright infringement. In the lawsuit, Spirit asked for $550 million for past earnings from the song. And they also wanted any future profits the song might generate. $550 million. They got nothing. The Ninth Circuit Court of California found that there was no copyright infringement. They took it to the Supreme Court, who refused to hear it, and that just leaves the Ninth Circuit ruling in place. And with that, the lawsuit was over. But like I said, most consider it one of the greatest rock songs ever written. 1994, the Republican Revolution. On the night of November 8th, 1994, the United States midterm elections go down. Republicans make historic electoral gains by securing a massive majority in both the House and Senate. 54 seats in the House, 8 seats in the Senate. This was their majority. This ends almost 4 decades of Democratic domination in the House and Senate. 1999, Bruce Miller is killed at his junkyard near Flint, Michigan. His wife, Cherie Miller, had convinced her online lover, Jerry Cassidy, to kill her husband. Yeah, so he gets convicted of this and later goes on to kill himself. Cherie ends up going to court and gets 54 to 81 years for second-degree murder. She's still incarcerated right now. So why'd she want her husband killed, and why is this significant? Well, she wanted her husband killed because she wanted a divorce, and she realized that she wouldn't get enough in the divorce, so she wanted more, and they had life insurance, so it was a life insurance thing. But why is this relevant today? This is considered the first internet murder, where internet actually played a part in the murder of someone. Now it's happened multiple times. I read this thing years ago about weird stories from the internet, and it was some book, and I tried to look up the story. I couldn't find it, so it might not be real, but apparently this woman was trying to have her husband killed years back, and she was communicating with a hitman through email, and they had sent like 50 or so back and forth emails, never once realizing that his email was an FBI.gov email address. So yeah, I don't know if that's true, but that's a great story, if it is. Premiered on November 8th, 1965, Days of Our Lives. This long-running show follows everyday struggles of people of a fictional city called Salem. The show has aired over 14,000 episodes. It's on its 57th season. It's one of the last soap operas. Back in the day, there were a ton of different soap operas. Now there's just a few, but here's some of the ones that used to be going but now have been canceled. All My Children went from 1970 to 2011. Another World went from 1964 to 1999. As the World Turns went from 1956 to 2010. Guiding Light went from 1952 to 2009. One Life to Live went from 1968 to 2012. The only ones still going from the old days, The Bold and the Beautiful, Days of Our Lives, General Hospital, and The Young and the Restless. Born on November 8th, 1966, Gordon Ramsay. Acclaimed Scottish chef and television personality who became famous for yelling at people and insulting them. I actually like him, even though he seems kind of like a jerk when he's on television. I watched him on YouTube and on his Instagram thing I follow, and he actually seems like a decent dude. I could be wrong. I don't know him personally. Died on November 8th. Just last year, we lost Alex Trebek. So sad. Longtime host of TV's Jeopardy quiz show. He also hosted the popular show Double Dare, Pitfall, and High Rollers. He had a very long career. He actually worked as a newscaster and a sportscaster for CBS, both on radio and television. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Now get out there, be productive, and be nice to each other.